This video isn't for those chasing trends, flexing fake lifestyles, or trying to look rich on Instagram. It's for the ones ready to build real wealth, quietly, patiently, and with purpose. In this episode of the Money Talks Slowly podcast, we're not preaching hype. We're exposing the mindset that turns discipline into millions, and why saying no might be the most profitable decision you ever make. The difference between successful people and really successful people is that really successful people say no to almost everything. Warren Buffett. You weren't born to keep up with people who have no idea where they're going. You weren't born to spend money you don't have, to impress people who don't care, to chase trends that vanish like smoke the moment you catch them. But that's exactly what most people are doing. They are broke, not just in their wallets, but in their thinking. And they're loud. Always posting, always flexing, always trying to look like they made it, while quietly drowning in debt, panic buying status, and living paycheck to paycheck, one swipe away from collapse. And if you're not careful, their noise will become your lifestyle. But the most powerful move you can make, say no. Say no to their invitations, no to their mindset, no to their illusion of wealth. Because real wealth is quiet. Real wealth is patient. And real wealth never tries to impress people who are too broke in mindset or money to understand it. Warren Buffett once said, "If you buy things you don't need, soon you'll have to sell things you do need." That's not just about cash, that's about control. Every dollar you spend trying to impress broke people is a dollar you surrendered, a piece of your freedom, a shot at your future. You don't build wealth by following the crowd. You build wealth by doing what most people refuse to do. Wait, save, learn, invest, repeat. But you can't do any of that if you're addicted to validation. You have to starve your ego to feed your future. Buffett bought his first stock at 11. By the time most kids were worried about recess, he was reading financial reports. Not because he wanted to show off, but because he had a vision. A clear, quiet, long-term vision. He didn't wear designer suits. He didn't flaunt Lamborghinis. He didn't play to the crowd. He played the long game. See, most people aren't broke because of bad luck. They're broke because they spend like they hate money. They're broke because they chase dopamine, not dividends. Because they're trying to look rich instead of becoming rich. And the world loves it. Credit card companies love it. Instagram loves it. The algorithm loves it when you're insecure, when you're desperate, when you're a slave to the scroll, always searching for the next thing to buy so you feel enough. But wealth? Wealth doesn't care how you feel. Wealth doesn't respond to emotion. It responds to discipline. And discipline is built in the silence of sacrifice. When you walk past the new car, when you skip the overpriced dinner, when you say, "No thanks, I've got other priorities," that's when wealth starts to trust you. Because the truth is, money is a servant, a soldier. But if you're not ready to lead it, it'll burn your life to the ground trying to follow your confusion. Warren Buffett doesn't invest based on hype. He invests based on value, based on principle. When everyone else runs toward the noise, Buffett runs toward the numbers. Because he understands this universal law. In the short term, the market is a popularity contest. But in the long term, it's a weighing machine. The same goes for your life. Today's popularity is worthless if it costs you tomorrow's power. So let them laugh when you don't upgrade your phone. Let them joke when you wear the same watch for 5 years. Let them mock your quiet hustle and your old car and your boring habits. They'll laugh now and regret later. Because while they were spending their future to impress the present, you were building a foundation no one could shake. Delayed gratification isn't sexy, but it's undefeated. You know who mastered it? Jeff Bezos. While others focused on quarterly earnings, Bezos focused on decades. He told investors, "Your margin is my opportunity." He didn't chase approval. He chased efficiency, long-term dominance. And today, the ones who laughed are now paying him. That's what happens when you stop playing games with broke people and start making moves with a billionaire mindset. Let's get something straight. You don't need more hustle porn. You don't need motivational quotes and flashing lights. You need clarity, conviction, patience so strong it can survive mockery. You need to become obsessed with quiet wins, reading when others scroll, saving when others splurge, investing when others flex, ignoring when others panic. That's how Warren Buffett got rich, not with genius, but with boring consistency. He said it himself. We don't have to be smarter than the rest. We have to be more disciplined than the rest. And in today's world, discipline is the new flex. You see, there's a reason Buffett still lives in the same house he bought in 1958. It's not because he can't afford better. It's because he never needed stuff to feel successful. The moment you need validation from others, you've already lost. Buffett doesn't care if you like his watch. He cares if the numbers compound. Because compounding is the single most powerful force in wealth building, and ego is its greatest enemy. Every dollar you waste slows the snowball. Every stupid flex melts the momentum. But if you can let your money sit, let it grow, let it multiply quietly in the shadows, one day it will roar. And everyone who ignored you will ask, "How did you do it?" You'll smile, because you'll remember the nights you didn't go out, the shoes you didn't buy, the opinions you didn't care about. And most importantly, the broke people you stopped trying to impress. They won't understand your grind because they never understood the game. Because the real game of wealth isn't played in the spotlight. It's played in silence. It's not played at the mall. It's played in the mind. Not with credit cards, but with conviction. Not chasing the next paycheck, but building the next asset. This is why Charlie Munger, Buffett's lifelong partner, said, "The first rule of compounding, never interrupt it unnecessarily." Yet that's what most people do every single day. They interrupt their own compounding by chasing distractions. They drain their accounts for image and call it living. They confuse debt with power. They confuse spending with success. And the worst part, they want you to join them. They need you to join them because your discipline makes them uncomfortable. Your financial focus reminds them that they're not building anything real. So they'll tempt you. They'll mock your lifestyle. They'll call you cheap when you're actually strategic. They'll call you boring when you're actually dangerous. Because you're not wasting your power trying to impress people with none. You don't need to announce your value. You become valuable. You don't buy the Gucci belt. You buy the company. That's how Buffett thinks. He doesn't want to look rich. He wants to own the companies that sell to people who want to look rich. There's a reason he bought shares in Coca-Cola, Apple, American Express. He knew something most people ignore. Own the product. Don't be the product. Most people are trapped in a loop they don't even see. They work for money, to buy things, to impress people, so they can feel temporarily valuable. Then they go back to work. Then they go back to being broke. But if you study Buffett, if you really internalize his philosophy, you see the exit. The way out isn't louder, it's quieter. It's the $100 you didn't spend. It's the skill you learned instead of the party you went to. It's the stock you bought when everyone else said it was too boring. And over time, those small choices compound. They snowball into a freedom you can't fake, a power you can't rent, a life you don't have to escape from every weekend. Do you want to know what separates the wealthy from the wannabes? Vision, not talent, not luck, not even education. Vision, the rich see further. While the crowd sees Friday, the wealthy see the next decade. While the broke chase likes, the rich chase leverage. Steve Jobs had vision when he said, "Simple can be harder than complex. You have to work hard to get your thinking clean." That's what wealth is, clean thinking. And clean thinking begins the moment you stop asking, "How can I impress them?" and start asking, "How can I multiply this dollar into something that works harder than I ever will?" That's the Buffett blueprint. Make money work for you. Let it grow, let it breathe, let it compound without ego interference. Because if you're chasing status, you're not chasing freedom. And if you're not chasing freedom, what are you even building? Here's the truth no one wants to hear. If you can't say no, you'll never be rich. No to brunch, no to the new iPhone, no to the drip, the flex, the weekend getaway you can't afford, no to impressing people who secretly don't even like themselves. Saying no isn't weakness, it's dominance. Saying no is saying yes to your long-term wealth. Buffett once joked that his life was the product of avoiding stupidity, not chasing brilliance. Think about that. Most people are trying to look smart. Buffett's trying to avoid dumb. That's the power of restraint. That's the power of patience. That's the power of ignoring the broke noise and letting your discipline echo louder than their dopamine. Because every unnecessary yes is an enemy to your compounding. Every impulse buy is a crack in your future. Every time you flex for the feed, you shrink for real life. You are not your followers. You are not your outfit. You are not your bank balance today. You are your ability to delay pleasure and build a foundation that makes money flow to you while others are begging for it. Elon Musk once said, "I think it is possible for ordinary people to choose to be extraordinary. That starts with what you choose to ignore. It starts with the friends you don't follow, the parties you skip, the lifestyle you walk away from because it's all glitter, no gold. You don't have to be flashy to be free. In fact, the flashier they are, the more you should worry. Because people with real wealth don't need to prove it. They just keep stacking. Stacking assets, stacking dividends, stacking skills, stacking choices that build more freedom, more control, more ownership. They're not worried about being liked. They're obsessed with being unshakable. And if you want to be unshakable, you have to start now. Not tomorrow. Not when you feel ready. Not after one more vacation, one more flex, one more excuse. You start now by saying, "I'm done living for people who won't matter 5 years from now. I'm done spending like someone who hates their future. I'm done confusing consumption with success." Because wealth is not about what you earn. It's about what you keep, what you multiply, and what you walk away from. And the broke? They'll never walk away from attention long enough to build anything real. But you can. You can walk away from all of it. You can look the illusion in the face and say, "I don't need to impress you. I'm building something bigger." And that is the power of saying no. Because saying no today is what gives you the ability to say yes for the rest of your life. Yes to freedom. Yes to time. Yes to choices that aren't chained to a paycheck or a boss or a calendar filled with someone else's dreams. You see, most people are trapped in invisible prisons. Prisons built from monthly payments, from quiet desperation, from chasing status instead of strategy. And the key to that prison? It's not another raise. It's not a lucky break. It's not waiting for the economy to change. It's you. It's your discipline. It's your vision. It's your ability to say no to broke habits and yes to wealthy principles. Warren Buffett lives in the same modest house he bought in 1958. He drives a car that costs less than a social media influencer's handbag. He eats McDonald's for breakfast. Is it because he's cheap? No. It's because he knows something the broke don't. The moment you need luxury to feel powerful, you've already lost. Wealth isn't about feeling rich. It's about being rich, quietly, deeply, and permanently. It's about building something so real, so solid, that you sleep like a baby while others are up at night praying for the next paycheck. It's about freedom from panic, freedom from pretending, freedom from the fake life everyone else is working overtime to maintain. But none of that is possible without one brutal truth. You will have to sacrifice. You will have to detach. You will have to walk alone for a while they laugh, while they mock, while they scroll through their rented lifestyle pretending they're ahead. But stay focused, because wealth always looks invisible at first. It looks like skipped dinners. It looks like a full bank account with an old phone. It looks like learning about ETFs and value investing while everyone else is binge-watching mediocrity. It looks like self-control. It looks like saying no again and again and again until one day you wake up and everything you once had to explain explains itself. Your friends will wonder how you bought your freedom. They'll whisper about how lucky you are. They'll ask questions like, "Man, how'd you get so successful?" And you'll smile. Because deep down, you'll remember every single no you had to say when it was hard, when it was lonely, when it made you feel behind. But now you're ahead. Because you stopped following broke people and started studying wealthy ones. Because you stopped asking how to look rich and started learning how to build it. So if you're listening to this, right here, right now, let this be the line you draw in your life. From this moment forward, you're done chasing validation. You're done apologizing for ambition. You're done trading your future for a temporary flex, because this isn't just about money. This is about who you become. This is about waking up in 10 years with options, with ownership, with peace. This is about mastering the game while everyone else is still trying to figure out the rules. And it all starts with this. Say no to impressing broke people. Say yes to wealth that lasts. Say yes to the version of you that doesn't need to be seen, because they're too busy becoming unstoppable. The world will try to distract you, but the real ones, the ones who build legacies, keep their head down and their values high. You are not here to follow the crowd. You are here to own the arena. Now go build something so real they can't ignore it. Because wealth, real wealth, doesn't scream. It whispers. It moves silently. It grows in the shadows where discipline lives and ego dies. You don't see it on Instagram. You don't find it on TikTok. And you sure as hell won't get it from trying to keep up with people who are lying to themselves. The Rolex is on credit. The car is leased. The vacation was borrowed from a future they haven't even built yet. And the worst part? They'll convince you to do the same, to chase, to spend, to perform, until you're broke too. Not broken in the wallet, broken mindset, broken patience, broken the ability to delay gratification for something greater. But if you study the wealthy, not the loud ones, the real ones, they all have one thing in common. They mastered the boring. They chose boring investments over flashy risks. They chose consistency over chaos. They chose compound growth over quick dopamine hits. Warren Buffett once said, "The stock market is a device for transferring money from the impatient to the patient." Read that again. Because every time you sell too soon, every time you give in to FOMO, every time you jump ship when it dips 5%, you're handing your future to someone else. But when you hold, when you stay grounded in logic, in fundamentals, in value, you're building something the hype can't touch. Buffett didn't get rich overnight, he got rich over time. He didn't look for moonshots. He looked for moats, businesses with defensible edges, predictable cash flows, and long-term value. He read every single day. He studied every single week. He sharpened his judgment until it became a weapon, not a guess. While others were hoping, he was calculating. While others were flexing, he was compounding. And when the tide went out, like it always does, he saw who was swimming naked. Because eventually the hype fades, the cycle ends, the bubble pops, and what's left? Only what was real. So if you're building, don't build for attention. Build for ownership. Own your time. Own your decisions. Own your financial future so deeply that nobody, not a boss, not a bank, not a market crash, can take it away from you. Because real power isn't loud. Real power is walking into any room, any situation, and knowing you don't need a single thing from anyone. That's not arrogance. That's not pride. That's freedom. And freedom is built in silence, in sacrifice, in the thousands of tiny decisions that nobody sees. When Elon Musk sold PayPal, he could have retired forever, bought yachts, islands, anything. But what did he do? He reinvested everything into building the future. He bet on himself not just once, but repeatedly, when everyone else thought he was insane. That's the mindset. It's not about money, it's about a mission. It's about using capital as a tool, not a trophy, because money is a servant when you control it, and a master when it controls you. The difference? The choices you make when no one's watching. Do you invest that bonus or upgrade your lifestyle? Do you spend Saturday reading or scrolling? Do you delay or do you drift? Because every decision compounds, not just your money, but your identity. Buffett became a billionaire by age 56. But here's what no one tells you. 99% of his wealth came after age 50. Why? Because compounding doesn't look like winning in the beginning. It looks like patience. It looks like nothing's happening, until suddenly it explodes. That's how wealth works. Slow at first, then all at once. So stop looking for the shortcut. Stop asking, what's the fastest way? Ask instead, what's the way that actually works? Because what works is what lasts. What works is what frees you. What works is boring, disciplined, consistent effort, multiplied by time. That's how you win. And here's the truth that will gut punch your excuses. You already know what to do. You know you should invest. You know you should save more than you spend. You know you should stop trying to impress people who don't matter, with money you don't have, for validation you don't need. But you don't do it. Why? Because saying no is hard, because building wealth doesn't feel good at first. It feels lonely. It feels like a sacrifice. It feels like watching everyone else sprint while you crawl. But remember this, the sprint leads to exhaustion. The crawl leads to freedom. You can fake rich for a year, or build rich for a lifetime. Your call. Buffett didn't become a legend because he followed the crowd. He became a legend because he ignored it. Because he said no to trends. No to hype. No to things that looked good but weren't built on value. He said no to impressing broke people, and yes to impressing his future self. Let that sink in. You are either impressing the world now or creating a future that will impress you for the rest of your life. You're either chasing applause or building assets. One fades, the other feeds you. People laugh at the quiet ones, the ones who don't flex, the ones who drive the old car, the ones who skip brunch and wear the same watch for 10 years. But when the storm comes, when markets crash, when the economy bends, it's the quiet ones who sleep peacefully. It's the quiet ones who swoop in and buy when others are panicking. It's the quiet ones who turn discipline into domination, because they didn't build their identity on looking rich. They built it on being unshakable. They weren't trying to look wealthy. They were trying to be free. So you want freedom? Earn it. You want options? Buy them. Not with money, but with decisions. You want wealth? Stop chasing it like a lottery ticket. Start treating it like a garden. Plant, water, wait. Ignore the noise, ignore the trends, ignore the broken opinions of people who are slaves to lifestyle, not masters of their future. Because the ones who mock you now will envy you later. The same people who once asked, "Why are you so cheap?" will ask, "How did you get so rich?" And you'll smile, not because you want revenge, but because you finally understand. Wealth was never about proving them wrong. It was about proving yourself right. You weren't born to live paycheck to paycheck. You weren't born to drown in debt, to survive on credit, to beg for weekends just to escape your job. You were born to build, to own, to design a life so free that Monday feels like a choice, not a prison. But it starts with no. No to waste, no to ego, no to emotional spending, no to impressing people who wouldn't lend you $100 if you were in real trouble. Say no to all of it, because every no you give them is a yes to the life you're meant to build. The stock market won't make you rich if your habits are poor. Bitcoin won't save you if you can't save yourself. Passive income doesn't matter if your mindset is still stuck in survival. Stop looking for hacks. Start looking inward. Buffett once said, "The most important investment you can make is in yourself." So invest in patience, in discipline, in long-term thinking, in reading, in building skills no one can take from you. In becoming so financially bulletproof that a layoff, a crash, a crisis doesn't even scratch the surface. That's real wealth. It's not fast, it's not flashy, it's not viral, but it's yours. And once it's yours, truly yours, nobody can take it. Not inflation, not recession, not judgment, not envy. Because what you built wasn't for show. It was for peace. It was for power. It was for legacy. And that all started with the power of saying no to impressing broke people.